Huddle around as Climbing the Pocket Network presents Jayson and the boys talking everything Minnesota Vikings. Watch the countdown timer.
Away we go again. Lost like I'm lost on purpose. If found, please return to. Girl, don't you know I'm lost on the road? I've been here before. When I get home, girl, don't you know I'm lost on the road? I've been here before. When I get home, my vision blurry, I'm paying the cost. I'm not enough. In fact, it's even better when you're not involved. When I miss your call, I feel that I evolve. Cause as you mentioned, I am more dependent than a college student on their parents or an old person on their pension. Not to mention when you hit me on WhatsApp without attention. And a bad booty bitch watched and she looks tempting. Look, my Achilles heel is when I say what I feel, you say, baby, come home. And I don't think that I will, cause all this motherfucking stress is gonna get me killed. Woo. Girl, don't you know I'm lost on the road? I've been here before. When I get home, girl, don't you know I'm lost on the road? I've been here before. When I get home.
Huddle around as Climbing the Pocket Network presents Jayson and the boys talking everything Minnesota Vikings.
No, I can't play these games. No, you can't disrespect and call me names. Sending me signals like you about to switch lanes. Well, go on, do your thing. Go on, do your thing. I mix champagne and propane, get lit. I'm trying to forget all the things that you said, all the things that we did. Girl, don't you know I'm lost on the road? I've been here before. When I get home, girl, don't you know I'm lost on the road? I've been here before. When I get home, watch the breakdown. And I get home when I get home. You just gonna act like we normal now. Good luck. Don't you try to call me with that bullshit, telling me you're sorry. You act too quick. That's somebody else's problem now. You're somebody else's problem now. Don't you try to call me with that bullshit, telling me you're sorry. You act too quick. That's somebody else's problem now. You're somebody else's problem now.
Hey everybody, it's Dave here, and it is Tuesday night. You know what that means? We're Vlogmas Day 15, and it's time for Climbing the Pocket Networks in the Huddle, where we talk everything Vikings, looking back, looking forward, and everything that tickles your fancy. And with that, Mr. Jayson Brown, it's all yours.
All right. Tickling fancies. Not sure what that's all about, but we're back. We're here. We got our crew. We got Flip. We got Myles. We're going to talk a little bit about the game that was, the game that will be, the outlook for this season, next season, all the seasons, all the things. Myles, my man, how you doing? How you been? Is the PlayStation 5 still blocked up? Still boxed up? Oh no, Myles! I see you talking. I don't hear you talking.
There you go. You came in.
Are we not plugged in?
He is plugged in now.
How about now? We good?
Oh,
All right.
There we go. There we go.
Man, my computer been janky lately. I got a new one from work, so that's how that goes. No, I'm good. Yeah, the PS5 is still locked up. It's unlocked. It's all good though. I got till next Friday. 10 days,
All
baby.
right. Tick tock, tick tock,
Jayson,
tick.
Jason, hey, tell
Yes,
me
sir.
about that. Tell me about that shirt real quick, though. Where'd you cop that from?
I don't even remember. Back when malls were a thing, I think I was able to go in and get this. But I'm not sure what store, if I'm being
All right.
honest.
Looks like a Hot Topic or like a one of them type of.
It's very possible. Very possible. I walked by and was like, "What would Yinka do?" And I just had to go and grab it.
Right.
I mean, I drove to South Dakota to pick it up. Maybe.
Skull Cliff. Oh man.
My man Flip. How you doing, my man? How are things? How's the weather out your way? I know you like to rub it in.
Oh, it's going well. I just picked up a set of golf clubs, so I've been hitting the course out here. It's great. I'm not good, but I'm trying. I'm trying
You
to be that
dressing
next
like you're
tire.
good, though. You're dressing like you're good though.
I know. Flip coming
No,
in, distinguished gentleman, fresh off the
You gotta
links.
come in with the fashion first.
Ready to argue with
Did
anybody.
you rock the
about
cap
golf course.
on the course though, Flip?
The Vikings cap?
Of course.
No, that's a negative.
Oh.
That's a
That's
negative.
you couldn't.
Yeah.
It's too embarrassing out in
got-
public to do that.
Yeah, it's the game day. You got the football.
Okay. And what's up, Clifford? How you doing? Well, let's jump into this thing. Let's talk about it. The game that was Vikings Bucs going in. I mean, look, most of us didn't think this was going to be much of a thing. We kind of expected the Vikings to lose this game, but then the game happened, and starting out, no one thought we could run on the Bucs. The Bucs game happens. The Vikings decide that is what they are going to do. They're going to establish their identity, and they're having success. And by all accounts, most traditional metrics, time of possession, the things that the announcers love to talk about, time of possession, yards per carry, all these things, the Vikings really look to be dominating this game. But then Dan Bailey happens, couple penalties go against the Vikings, and before you know it, the game we all kind of expected to happen ended up happening. And so the narrative coming out of this game for many was, the Vikings caught a lot of bad breaks. This is one of those things where, say ref variance or other things swung against the Vikings. It was unfair. Vikings were the more dominant team. Flip. When you think about how this game went, those plays that were really pivotal moments that many will say changed the complexion of the game. What are you taking away from this? How are you thinking about the Vikings coming out of this game where, maybe a couple kicks are made here and there, penalties not called, and it's a different outcome in what we're thinking about with this game?
Yeah, it's just the craziest thing to me. So you see a game like that, were there some fluky plays? Sure. Were some variants? Sure. Did they get screwed by the refs? Sure. But you gotta, when you're taking something away, you have to bring something with you. And if your reaction to this game is that the Vikings should use the exact same process, but get a better kicking performance, or do the exact same thing, but get less penalties called on them, then bro, you ain't paying attention. It's I'm surprised you start with me, because we should have started with Myles, because this game went exactly how Myles said it was going to go. He said that they were going to run Dalvin Cook nonstop, and that's what they did, and they didn't get the result, just like Myles predicted. So all this hodgepodge talking about the kicker and the refs, just that's not stuff we can control. What can we control? What can they actually do to improve from week to week? That's what bothers me.
All right, so Myles, flip through it to you once again. Feel like this has happened many times this season where you're really predicting, what's going to happen out there before it happens. You're predicting how we're going to be disappointed, not just that we're going to be disappointed. So given that this game went the way you thought it was going to, did you feel any kind of way when it was over, or it was just kind of all right, let me go make a sandwich and get on with the rest of my day?
So I think I watched this game a little bit more with intensity than I've watched some of the previous games, just because this is one of the better teams in the league. This is one of those games where you want to see the Vikings show up and be and show us if they're really if they're really there, if they're really ready to take that step to being a playoff team this year. Because we could talk about the winning 5 of 6, and that's been impressive for them. We could talk about the fact that they beat up on some bad teams, or they've come close to losing to some of these bad teams, but found a way to win. But this was kind of that real test, because we talked about earlier in the season they struggled or struggled to win and beat the good teams. So it was, and then they came around, beat the Packers after the bye. That was an impressive win, beating a good football team. And then so we're like, okay, who's the next game on the schedule that we're like, okay, this is another game that's like a test, a true test for this team. Well, it was the Tampa Bay Bucs. We watched the Rams a couple weeks ago go into Tampa Bay and say, and they're a run-heavy type of team too. They said, we're going to nix the run and make sure that we're effective in the pass game, because that's our best chance to beat this Buccaneers team. They're really good against the run, and they're going to make sure that we don't run against them effectively. The Vikings did the complete opposite. They came in this game and said, challenge accepted. We need to be men out here. We need to make sure that we're grinding that ball down their throats, doing all that,
And they did it well.
It worked for the first. It worked for the first, especially the first few drives. I'm not saying it didn't work, but what didn't work was the passing game. So great, you can run the ball. You can run the ball at 4 to 5 yards a tick. That's great. It's a good thing, and it was impressive against a really good run defense in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But what didn't work was a lot of the passing game. What killed drives was a lot of the passing game. Guess how you're not going to beat the Tampa Bay Bucs? You're not going to beat them if you can't pass the ball, because they stiffened up their run defense, and the pass game still wasn't working all that well. Like, the Vikings did have some decent drives. They stalled and killed themselves on some of those situations that led to some Dan Bailey situations. And they put themselves in this, long third and longs, which helped the Tampa Bay Bucs pass rush situations, which is obvious. We know the Vikings struggle in passing when they're in situations where they have to pass. We know that because they're not designed to be a straight drop back pass team. So if teams want to just come after them, they double Thielen and Diggs, or I said Diggs. Wow. Same. Hey, we're in the same situation that we've been in, right? If we can go down that road later. They decided to double Jefferson and Thielen and said, beat us with anybody else. And, Irv Smith was impressive. But the one thing that, what are you supposed to do? I just really struggled with the fact that they kept shooting themselves in the foot, because they went into the game thinking, no matter what, we have to run the ball. No matter what. And I wish this regime, I wish people like Mike Zimmer would go into games sometimes and say, I don't care how we win the football game. Just go out and win the football game. If that means we're not going to run the ball as much, fine. But I just wish I wish there was some of that nuance where they'd go into this and just say, hey, this is going to be the best way for us to win. And Zimmer will come out and say, I don't care how we win. Yeah, that's not true. It's just not true. He simply wants to be an effective run the ball, control the clock offense to help his defense out. Well, it didn't seem to help his defense out. And then we can talk about the penalties, because that one, some of that stuff I will say was a little, but they did not. That's not the reason they lost this football game.
Again, you just got to close the social media, man. If Dan Bailey makes we get 10 more points off of them. Okay, that's 24 points. Are we supposed to be excited by scoring 24 points in a football game? And you have multiple weeks where Dakota Dozier's just craptastic. You have multiple weeks where Chad Beebe just isn't doing crap. But Dan Bailey has one good game and he's got to go. Like, if Dan Bailey needs to get cut, we need to cut a lot of people off this football team.
So,
yeah.
I guess, and this is one of the things, I know we talked about it a little while, back earlier in the season, because one of the things I know that even frustrated beyond just the Bailey misses, it was almost the fact that we didn't know how to speed things up. Like in the third quarter, it was like we were playing, but it was like we were playing in a tied game. We're playing like we were ahead and trying to run the clock out. It was almost like we weren't able to figure out how to switch to an offense that would allow us to get back into the game more quickly. And Flip, this brings me to a question or a conversation that we had very briefly when we were talking online earlier today around just the direction of the team going forward, because it seems as though the way we're built and the way we want to win really doesn't give us a lot of outs. Like we're not at the point where we're like the Ravens or something where people talk about like once we get behind, it's a wrap. We can't yes, we can pass. They've shown a couple times they can get behind, but like they can come back. But it seems though the way that we're choosing to run the offense makes it very difficult for us when we do fall behind in any way, shape, or form. And you were saying earlier that if we're going to build around Kirk, that we need to get him better protection. My position was that we need to maybe tweak the offensive philosophy and get him another weapon. When you look at this game, I guess, help me understand what about this game makes you feel like everything would have just been better if we had, a better one interior offensive lineman that was better than one of the ones we have right now.
Yeah, well, so often when we talk about the pass game, it goes straight to Kirk Cousins. The reality is, and it was magnified on Sunday, is that when we talk about the Vikings, it's not just Kirk. It's like you said, it is the third wide receiver, but it's also the offensive line and their ability to pass block, which they can't do. And so many times when they go to that run philosophy, it's almost an admission of how this offense is limited, because the more running you do, the less pass block snaps that you got to deal with, and they're just not good at it. They're bringing other offensive linemen onto the field to try to protect Kirk because they know they're just not a good pass blocking offensive line. And Kirk specifically, his mindset is an immediate check down when he's in pressure. So Kirk is not a punish the blitz type of quarterback. He's a check down type of quarterback. He doesn't have the mobility to escape that pressure. So what does that result in?
Kirk's done. I will say Kirk's done a lot better of a job escaping pressure this year than what we've seen in the past. So I don't want to use that one as a Kirk's not good at that anymore. He's done a lot better, and something that I didn't expect to see is something he's grown at.
Yeah, I agree, and I mad credit to Kirk. But again, it's like it's frustrating to see Kirk take these improvements, but not also see that along the offensive line. Look, Kirk Cousins has only had a top 10 clean rate, just basically on pass block, on passing dropbacks when he's not pressured. He's only ranked in the top 10 once in his career, and that was back in 2016, which was arguably one of the best seasons of his career from a QBR standpoint and from a yards per attempt standpoint. So what we've seen is when he doesn't have that offensive line.
That team had some weapons too, though.
That team had some weapons, but what happens with Kirk is he gets that pressure. He doesn't care if the check down is a CJ Ham or a Tyler Conklin. He's taken that drop off, and that also is why we're not getting the balls in the hands of Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen as much as we'd like to. So there's multiple ways to fix it, but better offensive line, better pass blocking is one legit way to fix that.
Okay,
and what I don't like too is that they used. You heard Kirk after the game say, "Oh, they were doubling Thielen and Jefferson," as if that hasn't happened most of the season, and if that hasn't happened since his time in Minnesota, where he had Diggs and Thielen, and both of them were always double teamed because they were the only two primary weapons in the pass game. If you're a defense against the Minnesota Vikings, the only two focuses are the two receivers and Dalvin Cook. And if your front seven can help take away Dalvin Cook, you got the Vikings on the ropes. Like, that's what it is. And
so, Myles, can you talk to me about what?
Go ahead.
Can you talk to me about, so like we have the Vikings, because this is something that's come up. And I know it's very often like the quarterback's the quarterback, so they're going to get a lot of the blame. But there's a team like, let's look at a team, and I know that it's not always a fair comparison. Look at the best in the league, but you have a team like Kansas City. You have a Tyreek Hill that everyone knows is their primary wide receiver. Defenses are going to be lined up to stop a player like Tyreek Hill. They're going to be lined up to stop players like Travis Kelce. Can you talk to me from the perspective of a player who's, played wide receiver at the college level? What are some things our offensive coordinator could do to make it easier on Kirk and make it easier on those receivers to get some plays? Like, what are the things? Because we always talk about Andy Reid being a genius, creating mismatches, doing things with the pieces on his offense to put them in the best possible positions to be successful. What is it that maybe some of these, quote, genius type coaches are doing with their players that our coaches aren't doing with ours?
Yeah, so you use the Chiefs, and I think they're an outlier, and I only say outlier because they have a little bit of everything. I like to use the Rams because their philosophy and the way they run their offense is a lot more similar to the way the Vikings run their offense. So they're kind of the viewpoint I use because they run the wide zone. They run a lot of tight ends. They run the play action. The Vikings want to do those same exact things. Now, where the differentiator is Sean McVay window dresses a lot of what he does to help for his quarterback, to help in the passing game, to help in the run game, to help a little bit of everything. If the downfield passing game isn't working, he does a fantastic job of scheming to get his players the ball. Jet sweep reverses, getting those guys the football on the move, stretching the outsides to pressure the defense to force them to the edges. That's an important factor that they do a lot. Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, and they've been mixing in their running backs. What they also do is they move those guys all over the formation. They move them in different formations, different tights, different splits. They put them in different positions so that you can't just double them on every single play. And the Vikings have, on occasion, they do that, but they don't do enough of moving those guys around and window dressing to help scheme those guys open on a consistent basis. And that goes back to, in my opinion, when the pass, just because you're in a passing down situation or you're like second and long, the Vikings run the football, terrible idea. We talk about that all the time. They're still going to do it. But what they can still do in passing situations or quote unquote like expected passing situations is run play action. Let's say the run game starts to falter a little bit. Everybody thinks, well, if the run game's not working, you can't run play action. That's not true, because all play action is supposed to be meant for is to hold the defense for a millisecond, a split second there to give your guys time to get open. That's what it is. That's what it's for. If it's for a shot play, if it's for a quick hitter, there's a lot of different ways to do it. Play action isn't just about having an effective run game. It's about making the defense question what they're looking at and what they're seeing in front of them and making them react to whatever's coming next. And so the idea that you can run play action in any scenario, obviously third and long, some of those, whatever. But I'm talking in any situation, you should be able to run some form of play action to help get your guys open, to help suck the linebackers in, to help give Kirk even a split second longer to find a read that he can get open, that he could throw a guy open. Like, those are opportunities that I wish the Vikings would do a little bit more of. And I think they do a good job of moving guys like Adam Thielen around, but I don't think they fixate so much on Justin. When both of those guys are in the game, they fixate, at least what it seems like. I'd have to look a little bit more, but they fixate on Justin Jefferson being the X receiver and Adam Thielen being the Z receiver, and they don't really do much to change that. And they don't do enough of situations to let those guys flourish. Like, put those guys into a better situation so that so that defenses can't always just double team them, high to low and press coverage with the safety back on Jefferson, especially. Like, there's a lot of different ways. And that's why I always like to use the Rams for that instance, because the Rams have two really good receivers, which the Vikings have two better receivers than those two, in my opinion. And
better quarterback,
but they do better quarterback too, better running back. Like, they have the better overall infrastructure in place. You could talk about the offensive line a little bit, fine, but overall infrastructure, that they have a better in place position than the Rams do, but they don't do enough to move those guys around, to get them the football in creative ways, to help alleviate some of the defense's focus on them. Like they ran one sweep to Jefferson or one reverse to Jefferson. It got like a yard, and we never saw anything like it again all game. It doesn't make sense to me how they're not doing more of that to try to get the ball in their playmakers' hands.
And that's a great example, Myles. And I'll use that Jefferson, the scheme touches to tie in. You said the Rams. I would say, I hate to bring up this name right now, and there's several guys I could bring up, but I'm going to go with the Browns. And that's another way you can solve this issue. Where Cleveland has one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. And they use that clean pocket approach that I think Kirk needs. But you got Baker Mayfield throwing to Harrison Bryant and Rashard Higgins and Donovan Peoples-Jones. And these are not superstars, but the line is so clean that the quarterback can go out and operate and find the open guy. And Cleveland also does a lot more of those gadget type plays, those scheme touches that Myles was talking about with the Rams. So again, there are multiple ways to address the issue, but you have to, if your takeaway again should be that the offensive line has to be better, more so than, oh, we need a new kicker, or, oh, we just got to wait for the refs not to screw us. Like, changes.
I mean, the line could be a little better. I'm still team more weapons. More weapons, ball out quicker, line looks better. Like Peyton Manning had a great pass blocking offensive line every year he was in the league. That's because the ball was coming out of his hand in like a second and a half every time he went back there.
That's what Brady's been doing too the last few years of his career. Is he's been getting the ball out quickly because, hey, screw the pass rush. I'm just going to get the ball out.
But again, what is going to make the most sense for Kirk? Because a third wide receiver is going to get like 3 targets a game from the guy. The guy's going to go to his check down. He's going to go to his fullback and tight end a lot when he's dealing with pressure. And when he's clean, you go ahead and you get that deep shot, Kirk, that we all love so much.
Now, hold on. I don't think you're being entirely fair here. Chad Beebe got 4 targets in the game for a success rate of 25% and negative 0.8 expected points added. So I don't know that you're being entirely fair in terms of how the other wide receiver would be implemented into our game plan. But let's switch it up here.
I just want to answer.
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to answer Clifford's question real quick. He asked, "Is Cousins capable of getting the ball out quicker?" Yes, Cousins wants to get the ball out quicker. He wants to get the ball out. Cousins, if it was up to Cousins, because if he in a lot of cases is like a robot. That dude, if he could throw to his first read every single time, he would do it every single time and be happy.
That's how Tajay Sharp gets deep passes on need to have it plays because
first read.
That's what the progression said. But Myles, bring a little optimism to the show. Talk to me about my man Irv Smith and what you saw out of him. Talk to me about what you saw from Gronklin and the future of the tight end position. Like,
here it is. Jason's been waiting for this. I've
been waiting for it. Kyle Rudolph does not play in a game, and we actually get actual downfield production from the tight end position, moving the ball between the 20s, getting some scores. Talk to me about it, Myles. How do you feel about the future of the tight end position for the Vikings?
I mean, I can't say much about Tyler Conklin. I think he's a fine tight end. Like, I think depth-wise, I think he's fine.
Second most targets on the team.
I think, what did he have, like 13 yards? But like, I think he can. I think he can fill some of that like tight end 2, tight end 3 type of role. I think that's he fits that. Irv Smith though, like to your point, he brings that pop and juice to that position that's been really needed. We talk about adding another weapon. If he can continue to evolve into that weapon, you're going to see that help Jefferson and Thielen, because if you can't keep your full focus and attention on Thielen and Jefferson down the field, Irv can help occupy the middle of the field. And no, Rudy is not on the team next season. That's an easy cut. Sorry, that's like
bro.
I'm sorry.
Bro,
That's like
you better look at that contract.
That's easy. That's late. That's out. Like that's the easy out. They designed it that way too. But no, real talk. What Irv Smith does is he helps stretch the field up, stretch the seams that Rudolph couldn't do. It's just not what Rudolph's capable of. That's not his skill set. I never faulted Rudolph for not being good at something that he's not designed to be good at. That's okay. But Irv Smith, his designed role is to help stretch the seams and be a guy that can be a playmaker. That's what he can do. He's got that like wide receiver type ability that Rudolph didn't have. Rudolph was a really good possession receiver, could move the chains, had really secure hands. I guess he still does. He's not dead. But I mean that in like the sense that like Irv Smith gives you a little bit more of what you need out of that position. And so for me, at least what I think they could use, if you're not going to add a third receiver, that can be Irv Smith. Irv Smith can be that guy. Like Jayson, you brought up the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not saying that he's a Travis Kelce, but like you want a guy that can be a playmaker, good with the ball in his hands. He can stretch the field a little bit, and he could be a mismatch against safeties and linebackers. That's all I've been asking for out of the tight end position or a third wide receiver. So Irv Smith can definitely be that. If he can stay healthy and continue to progress and grow, there's no reason that dude can't be a Pro Bowl level type of tight end as we move forward.
And again, Gronklin, 5 receptions, 40 yards. So we're gonna stop downplaying the contributions from our third and fourth weapons in this offense. But Flip, I saw you smiling. You're nodding your head. Maybe some excitement about this star that we see being born on the Vikings offense in Irv Smith.
He hates the Rudy slander. How dare you?
No, I don't hate the Rudy slander. The dude's going to be 32 years old and with no guaranteed money left on that contract. So to answer your question, RJ, it's a very easy cut if the Vikings don't want Kyle Rudolph on the roster next season.
Thank you for your service, Kyle. That's what I'll say to him. Thank you for all the years you.
I'm nervous, man, because you know how this front office thinks. You know Zimmer's gonna want that dude back.
They're gonna need to designate him as a post June 1 cut though, but whatever.
Yeah. So we'll go Irv, we'll go Conklin, we'll be fine. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about the offensive weapons, honestly, right now. I mean, I think you can find an upgrade from Chad Beebe anywhere, and then you just fix up the line.
Hey,
they got 2 upgrades from Chad Beebe on the roster already. And they just cut one.
Get gritty. All right. Okay. So, Flip, your big takeaways from this game. The Vikings just generally offensively need to be better, more aggression.
Maurice, better pass. The fix is in, Maurice. The fix is in. They were not going to let the Vikings win that game, huh?
Yo, shut up, Donnie. And, Donnie, shut up, man. I am really upset.
RJ, chill out. RJ, chill out.
Whoa.
That's some Cole Beasley slander right there.
I'm out.
Hey,
Jason's
about to fight somebody.
Come on. At least compare Chad Beebe to a brother, man.
Be careful.
How you don't see Mecole Hardman potential in Chad Beebe?
Hey, the Vikings need to bring some juice to that receiver position outside of Thielen and Jefferson. They need some juice, not some Chad Beebe.
I like the defense. That's what I'm trying to say. I liked the defensive effort. I love the defensive effort. I think a lot of people are obsessed with the pressure and the lack of defensive pressure that's being generated. It's one of those things. It's like, what do you want? You chose to trade away Yannick, so blame that one on Rick. But really encouraged by the cornerbacks play. You have to remember the linebackers. They didn't have Eric Kendricks again. Gladney and Dantzler are taking positive steps forward. Anthony Harris is a little bit of a waste of space, but I see enough on this defense to not have to revamp and go get all these new Zimmer toys. Look, just get Daniil back, get Michael Pierce in the middle, rotate your opposite defensive end, and you've got Eric Kendricks and some young cornerbacks that are really starting to grow. So, like, I don't think we're that far away, but so much of the coaching and the philosophy worries me a little bit. And I don't know if we have the correct front office to fix the offensive line and to navigate a tough salary cap year looking at 2021 now.
Question.
Fire
Why are we always blaming the front office for the lack of offensive line development when the front office is working with the coaching staff to find them and work with them to find their priority, like the people that they're looking for to mold and to build in the offensive line room? Like, that's what the front office is there for. They're like, hey, tell us what you guys like. We'll obviously work together to mold and figure out what that looks like. And if they've gone out and said, hey, we'll go get you Brian O'Neill, Ezra Cleveland, we'll sign Riley Reif, we'll go get Garrett Bradbury. I'm sick of saying that they don't do things to help this offensive line. It's the coaching staff. Like, the front office goes out and gets the guys, and they say, hey, Garrett Kubiak, what level of player do you think you need at left guard? And if Garrett Kubiak's like, I need Dakota Dozier, the front office is supposed to say, are they supposed to say, no, we want something better? It
does go back to that philosophy again, where it is, we drafted Garrett Bradbury based on his run blocking tape.
Mm-hmm.
Like, his pass blocking grades in college coming out were not good. So him not being good at pass blocking against grown men in the NFL, not surprising. Also, like Myles said before, not really his fault, because we can't expect him to do something that he just had never done before. And also, Donnie, I'm gonna be.
He's the team captain. He was the team captain. Jayson
went against us. Not good.
Shut up, Donnie.
But it happens. The problem is the calls happen. They're bad breaks.
Call.
They were terrible calls. But we have no margin for error, in part because of how we choose to play the game. We don't take enough shots.
And
so when bad things happen, we can't recover from them. So that is a bigger problem than refs making mistakes, because that's going to happen. We can't control that. We can control how we play the game, which is to play faster and to involve the people who can get lots of yards every time they touch the football. And those people are Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Irv Smith, maybe Dalvin, if we could ever remember how to run a screenplay. Maybe
can't run a screen. We don't have the offensive line to run a screen. Apparently,
But I thought that's why we got those guys, because they were fast.
Those
guys
can
run zone and screens.
They're supposed to be getting that. Hey, no. I feel like when people are talking about the officiating and how the fix is in on the Vikings, they're watching the movie that Remember the Titans, and they're seeing that, and they're like, like they're thinking like the refs are literally got it in for us, and they're like paid off and told, hey, this is a wrap. The Vikings got to go. Like, they can't win this football game. Like, that's not happening. Like,
Donnie, I've been saying how I really feel the entire season. They need to fire everybody. We got coaches starting terrible ass players.
And then, hey, Donnie said Fox TV. You know who you're talking to?
Good Lord. Just fire them. That's the offensive line thing. To answer Myles' question, it's not for lack of effort. It's what are you do? What are you doing drafting these offensive linemen? What are you doing drafting an offensive tackle and then playing him at right guard for the entire season?
Where else are they going to put him?
Like, why would they even draft him? Why would they draft him?
Flip, we've literally talked about this. It's about the future. Like, draft picks aren't just about right now. Draft picks are about the future.
Put him at left tackle. We're 6 and 7.
He's not
we were 1 and 5.
He's not better than Riley Reef.
Then we're not talking about the future anymore.
Why not? Why can't he continue to progress in his playing and getting on the? So this is how I view this. I'm sick of people saying, "Oh, you can't put an offensive tackle in to play guard." Well, in this scheme you can, and it gets him on the field and it gets him experience that he wasn't going to get at left tackle or right tackle. So let's get him on the field to play guard.
You moved Riley Reef inside, get him experience at left tackle.
Riley Reef would be worse at guard than he's been at tackle, and he's been better at tackle than
Ezra Cleveland. Nobody cares how Riley Reef does at nobody cares how Riley Reef does at guard. Nobody cares how Riley Reef does at guard.
Left tackle is more important than guard. So give me the better player to play tackle and put the worst player at guard. And they've done it so far.
You're grooming at the position you want them to play. If you're really focused on the future, if you're so focused on the future that you trade away Yannick Ngakoue, that you shut down Daniil Hunter, and you're saying we are looking for the future, then why not put the guy at left tackle? Why is having a good left tackle so important?
Because the future we're looking for is not trying to get fired. I mean, so it's maybe the incentives aren't aligned, but the future that we're talking about is I want my job next year, so I'm gonna play players that don't have me get embarrassed and get fired.
Where my gripe is with Cleveland, Flip, is they should have moved him to left guard and kicked Dakota Dozier's bum ass out. That's where they should have put Ezra Cleveland if they're going to put him at guard, not right guard. But
there's like 9 different things they could have done with the offensive line other than whatever they're doing now.
You wanted them to cut Riley Reef, so
because I thought we had the left tackle of the future.
We're not relitigating. We're not relitigating Myles versus Flip, Riley Reef, because I think Flip also did share that Riley Reef is one of the most valuable players on the Vikings. He did share that, so we'll keep this pushing.
I'm very happy with how Reef is playing. But it means nothing for 2021.
It's because of the pay cut that Riley Reef's
we
better
know
than
the offensive line is going to be in focus again because we're playing the Bears. So
no, Donnie,
talk to me. No,
Donnie, come on, bro.
No, just because we're black, Donnie. Just because we're black,
yeah, man. Dude, we got Chad Beebe. Don't even know where to line up on the field. Cole Beasley would never do that, man. Cole Beasley always knows where to line up.
Oh man. All right, so talk to me about this upcoming matchup with the Bears. Mitchell Trubisky. Mitchell Trubisky is back and balling. A-Rob has been eating these last couple of weeks. If you have him on fantasy, you know what I'm talking about.
Eat again.
The last time we played this team, things were going a certain way, and then Akeem Hicks went down. Things kind of went a different way. How are we feeling about this matchup? Mitchell on his revival tour, settling old scores.
Revenge
Bears
tour.
Defense is always a tough time. Flip, what are your thoughts going into this game? How do you think it's going to go for us?
Well, again, 3 bad things happened to us in the last game. We had bad ref calls, we had bad kicking, and we had bad offensive line. So y'all tell me, which of those 3 worry you the most for this next game?
I mean, offensive line, for sure.
There it is. Going against Mac. I mean, what's the fix there? Are they just going to trot Dozier back out there? Or are they just going to say, Cleveland, take your lumps, learn, trial by fire?
I'm not worried about Cleveland Mac. I'm worried about Akeem Hicks.
Yeah, me too.
I mean,
I'm worried about
we're favored, but we're favored in this game.
Are we going to bring Rashad Hill onto the field?
Oh, we're at home. We suck at home this year.
I can't believe they messed up those fresh whites, man. Those all white uniforms look good, and they had to go feature the CJ Hammer wearing those fresh whites, man.
So
for real. Hey,
at
for
home,
real,
Bears game. Do the Vikings get back on track? Do they keep toying with Flip's heart to get back to 500, or do they completely end all hopes of anything good happening for us this season? Flip, what's the leverage on this game?
Yeah, I need to find some Bears fans and make a bet. we're back under 500, so we got to start putting some cash back on the line. That's for sure.
Hey, Donnie's funny. Donnie's funny.
Oh Lord.
I don't know, man. Like, look, I saw this article. This is like the game that doesn't matter bowl. Like, you can talk yourself into why this game matters.
Gotta get back to 500 before we talk about the playoffs.
If the Vikings lose, they have a 2% chance of making the playoffs right now. I just want to see them. I think I would need to see them just, win by double digits for me to get any hopes of a 7-7 record and trying to get into the playoffs. Because if they do make the playoffs, that first round's against New Orleans or Green Bay. So I don't know. That's probably not the answer.
We beat Green Bay before.
Oh yeah, dude. So that's what I'm saying.
Green Bay and New Orleans are the only good teams that we can beat. It's just facts.
Those are the only games left. Those are the only games left on our schedule, really.
I know. So I'm just saying.
How do you think it's going to go? Because you've been doing a pretty good job of predicting things here. How do you think we're going to come out attack the Bears?
What did I say about the Jacksonville game?
We should beat them by double digits, I think is what you did say. We should beat the shit out of this team, I think, if I'm going for a direct quote.
I mean, I could do that again. Do we need to go over all that again? I mean,
you feel that we should beat the shit out of the Bears? Like, if you're thinking about the Bears and Jacksonville, you're keeping them in the same kind of class of team as they match up with the Vikings?
They both have shitty quarterbacks. I guess you could. I mean, unless you wanted to say that Mitchell Trubisky is a little bit better than Mike Glennon, fair. He can at least run. Doesn't have a long neck, but I mean, weapons wise, the Bears don't have better overall weapons than the Jaguars did. I mean, they're comparable. I mean, Allen Robinson's better out of all of them.
Mooney slander will not be tolerated on this podcast.
I'm not slandering Mooney at all. David Montgomery, he's balled lately. So there's that for my fantasy teams. No, but like for real, to your point, Jayson, though, the Bear, we don't match up as well against the Bears because again, they're good against the run, especially like what we saw the first time we played the Bears. If Akeem Hicks is in the football game, he wrecks our entire interior offensive line. Like, and he knows it. Like, You saw the last game, him and Cook were going back and forth talking shit to each other. I love that. That was fun. But then Hicks gets banged up and hurt, and he has to, sit out. And Dalvin Cook decides to go off. And if Akeem Hicks is gonna play and be healthy, it's gonna be a tough day for them. He's the one I'm more worried about because our offensive tackles have been good. Khalil Mack's obviously really elite, but like they've done a pretty decent job against him at times. Like I'm not as worried about him as I am the interior. And if you're the Bears, how are you not putting Kyle Fuller on Justin Jefferson and doubling Adam Thielen or vice versa? They're going to double both those guys and say, okay, go ahead. How are you going to beat us? Because we watched all the other games against good football teams and how they beat you guys. We're going to try to do the same. I mean, that's what they should probably do. And Kirk's going to say, well, those guys were doubled, so I can't throw it to them. And I don't know, like the Vikings should beat this football team. The Vikings should be a better football team than the Chicago Bears. The defense, you'd hope they play well enough to make sure that Mitchell Trubisky doesn't go off against them, which is weird to say, but it's possible because Mitchell Trubisky at least gives you a run threat ability, and he has an elite receiver in Allen Robinson. So those are two recipes.
And he feeds Allen Robinson.
And he feeds as he should. As
Allen Robinson.
As he should. So
have we beat Trubisky? Have we beat Trubisky? The Vikings?
Probably not.
I'm not sure.
Donnie, have we beat Mitchell Trubisky?
Yeah.
Donnie, help us out. Have we beat Mitchell Trubisky? And if so, which game?
I think it's been since his rookie year since they beat him. Well, like for real, that might be.
I'm telling y'all.
And they might play Chase Daniels later. So, and then, they can't beat him.
But depressed the hell out of me right there.
Oh, man. So we need Nick Foles again.
Yeah, bro. I don't think.
No.
I think we're 0-4 against Trubisky or something like that.
Yeah, you might be right. Well, and so what was it last year? Trubisky got hurt and early in the game, and then Chase Daniel came in. I think that's what it was, but they still lost, so it didn't matter. Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying, RJ. I think it was rookie year. I think that was the last time they beat Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah,
that's sad.
Changed the whole vibe of the show there, Flip. How dare you?
The Vikings should win this football game. Home field advantage doesn't really seem to be a thing anymore, but their defense has started to play a little bit better. Double Allen Robinson, please. Mike Zimmer, if you're listening, double Allen Robinson. Hopefully you get Eric Kendricks back. That's a big one. I think that's that this defense really thrives if you need Eric Kendricks back. So you can have, which also helps Harrison Smith. You need to get pressure, obviously, on Trubisky, which has been tough for this team to do. So they're gonna have to generate some pressure. And so I don't know. The Vikings should beat this Bears team. I'll continue to say that. How close the game is going to be, it's probably going to be a lot closer than it should be.
Okay. Flip, are you with us? Because you look frozen. All right. So
Jerome,
Flip is frozen.
I was going to blame somebody else, Jerome.
Oh.
Who's Jerome blaming?
Am I back?
You're back. You're back.
We are 2-4 against Mitchell Trubisky. I didn't hear anything about what Myles just said. I'm sure it was amazing points. I'm worried. I'm worried about the offensive line against the Bears. I'm worried that we're going to run Dalvin Cook 25 times this game to finish second in the NFL rushing record this season. I guess that's the goal that we should have. And I'm very worried about further special teams meltdowns. They've got Cordero Patterson right there. I do not like Cordero Patterson. He's a little punk, if you ask me. He's overrated. He's overrated. So I'd love to see us shut him down. But, I mean, we got Chad Beebe on punt coverage, right? So we'll see.
Dan Chisna.
Oh, Dan Bailey is about to come out here for Vikings Jerome, and he's about to have a perfect game, get back on track. He's going to win the game. He's going to hit a 60-yarder to win the game and put us back in the playoff hunt just to keep the suffering going just a little bit longer.
Hey, before we go, can I just ask one question? Can someone tell me who could be better than Dan Bailey that's available right now? And if someone says Chandler Catanzaro, however the hell you say a dude's name, I swear to God, I know they're trying him out, but come on, can we
yo? Let me put it this way: we are not anywhere near good enough to have a non-dependable kicker. Okay, Dan Bailey's just going to be just fine because it's not going to be any type of playoff type kick vibe.
There's no real pressure besides
there's no possibility of an extreme meltdown. I'm not going to be remembering that Tampa game the way I remember some of the other big kick misses in Vikings history. No. I'm not. So, Dan Bailey, you're a kicker, so I don't really have a strong opinion on you either way. It's not like I miss Dan Carlson because he's always a kicker. So we'll see if you can win a camp battle and go from there. For this game,
we got whoever Dan Bailey beats out, that's the 4th or 5th round pick next year. Well, we'll
they could go 4th round pick. I bet they go 4th round pick on a
That's
kicker.
What I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They're going to draft a special. They're going to draft a kicker.
Zim is going to run him out of town before camp is over.
Donnie,
I agree with Donnie. I agree with Donnie.
What?
Donnie said that we need to come out, throw the ball all over their heads, and run them out the gym. But I feel like all of us
should have done it last week.
Not going to happen.
That I'm telling you that that Akeem Hicks coming up. He's going against Dakota Dozier. Kirk's going to do that 5-step drop. I love Kirk Cousins. Like, we don't talk about Kirk's durability enough. He is. It's amazing that he hasn't missed any games playing against this type of line for this long. And
he's a mobile quarterback now.
Yeah, he's mobile. We got that. We got design QB sneaks happening.
Most efficient runner we had last week.
I love that. I love those plays. Kirk is balling. So, Kirk versus Mitch.
He wasn't balling on Sunday, but that's fine.
Sunday was not as fine.
Sunday
as
was not balling, but overall,
we're gonna bounce back. We're gonna get some quick hitters to start the game. Get Kirk into a groove. Get Thielen and Justin going, and I'm calling for a blowout of these Bears. I'm putting it into the world right now. I'm manifesting it. We are going to come out there and handle our business, if for no other reason that, we've talked about it before. Backs against the wall. Zim loves that stuff. He loves it. It's when expectations happen that our team falls apart.
And the Bears aren't a good football team.
Also that, even though PFF Steeler rankings say that we are basically the same team overall.
Sure.
So
I could talk about this forever, man. This game fascinates me, but there's not that much talk about because we don't know what's going to happen. Two divisional rivals going at it.
The Vikings can win out this week.
If the Vikings can win the game, I want the Vikings to win. But if David Montgomery wants to go for $150-3, I'm cool.
Montgomery will be on the bench in the second quarter because
these are selfish.
Y'all know any Bears fans? Let me know. $75 straight up. Let's go.
I'll find one for you. Actually, I'll send one your way.
Money down on the perp team.
Hey, remember the last time Flip tried to make a bet?
He cost us the victory at halftime. He cost us the victory.
My fault.
There it is.
My fault.
Yeah.
Well, there it is. We have made it to the 10 o'clock hour, so we are going to wrap this thing up. As always, viewers, thanks for chilling with us. Thanks for helping us with this show. Interacting with y'all is always so much fun. Listeners, thanks for checking it out. And I am going to turn this over to the man in the truck, David.
Hey,
go Vikings.
Good show, guys. And I want to thank every one of these people that are watching and interacting. Especially you, Donnie. You've been kicking it tonight. Absolutely fantastic. Now, hopefully...
Tell your friends. Subscribe.
Yes. Tell your friends. Share. And if you think this is heated up, make sure you watch Good Morning Gallahorn in the Raw 15 minutes after the game. I guarantee you'll see fire then. But first, tomorrow night, we have the original squad coming back for Vlogmas Day 16. It's Climbing the Pocket with Jayson, Myles, Yinka, and who am I missing?
JR.
Superstar JR.
Yeah, JR. If JR could make it, he had kid problems last week.
The legend.
JR may be able to tell us. He'll get more into the draft mode as we get closer. So
we can't. It's not draft time yet.
Well, it's not draft time. As we get closer. We're not there yet. It's playoff time. Right, Flip? Playoffs.
Yeah. We're going to, if the Vikings don't make the playoffs, we get to each pick a different team, right? That's how this works?
We'll see. And speaking of playoffs, make sure you go back and watch last night's show, which starred the one and only Flip Mozzie. 15 minutes with Flip. We talk nothing but playoffs then. But for the rest of the evening, enjoy yourselves, enjoy a good beverage, enjoy good food, good friends, stay safe, stay healthy, and by all means, go Vikings! Skol!
Skol Vikes.
Play the music.
Yeah, I put money on that Houston game too.
Thank you for watching or listening. As always, if you like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. And if you're listening to the podcast, please rate us on your favorite aggregator. Skol, everybody.